Hi, this is Wynette Griffin. I'm the principal here at Glenhope Elementary School.
And I'm Shauna Voss. I'm the PTA president here at Glenhope this year.
And we decided that some of you couldn't make it to our volunteer orientation, and so we would bring it to you. We would try to say everything that we said in the volunteer orientation, but in a small amount of time and on video so that you could watch it and know the things that you'd missed. So Shauna, tell us about the things that you want volunteers to know.
I want volunteers to know that any amount of volunteering you can do, whether it's something at home, running and grabbing something for a party, calling a teacher and finding out what they need, or answering a teacher's email when they do need something, or coming up and volunteering to do something for Fall Festival. Any amount of volunteering is what we would love to have here because everybody's busy, everybody has different commitments, but we would love any type of help that you could offer to us.
And we have things that you can do to take home. We have something called Workbox Wednesday, and lots of times teachers drop things off that have labels on them and tell you exactly what to do. And you could take that home, bring it back the next day or 2 days, and that works just great as well. And that counts for volunteer hours. Last year, Glenhope was the school with the most volunteer hours in the whole district. So we're really proud of that, and we want to keep it up.
And when you're doing stuff like that, it's very important that we remember when we come into the school that we check in and make sure each area that you are volunteering for, that we're getting that documented. So whether it is volunteering for a field trip, or volunteering to take something home, or volunteering at a Gator Games or something going on during the school time, all of that does need to be documented, and all that goes towards counting towards our hours at the end of the year.
One of the things that's really important for us and for all volunteers is that we discuss confidentiality, and that is the importance of keeping information that you may hear or see here at school completely to yourself. If you see something here at school that you might be concerned about, we want you to talk to us about it, not go out and ask a question of someone at a softball game or at basketball, on the basketball stands, because we don't want kids to be talked about. We don't want your child to be talked about. We don't want other children to be talked about. There's actually a federal law that governs not just school employees, but also volunteers. And so even though you're just a volunteer, which we're never just a volunteer, you're governed by the same policies. And that is that we don't talk about things that you may see or hear or observe here at school. That's a really important one, and probably the most important thing that we want you to remember when you're volunteering.
The other thing about that I'd like to add is that little ears are everywhere. And so while you may be doing something, you can't go, "Ugh, Dr. Griffin asked me to come up and do this video, and I can't believe she asked me." There are little ears all over the building. There are little ears all over outside. There's little ears out for pickup. Kind of keep that stuff to yourself and discuss at an appropriate time if there is something, or speak to Dr. Griffin about the fact that you're having to come up and make a video.
Yeah.
Little ears hear a lot. We want to keep that at its minimal.
Yeah, my dad used to be a school principal, and he would say, we don't believe everything that they say about you, and you don't believe everything they say about us. So we'd like to ask that you keep that in mind as well. There's some things that we have to talk about that aren't things that we do, but things that the state has reminded us of or made us adhere to, and those have to do with food and food policies. So we're governed by something in Texas called the Foods of Minimal Nutritional Value, also known as FMNV, which is quite a mouthful. It basically is an attempt to make sure that we're feeding children healthy and nutritious food, and they're not getting lots. 3 days during the year when kids can eat junk food, and that is holiday parties, Valentine's parties, and field day. On the other days, we have to adhere to the policies that require things like birthday treats have to be individually wrapped, and we only give those out at the end of the day, and that has to do with that policy. We don't allow sweet treats or snacks that interfere with kids eating at times during the day. So there are lots of things that have to be adhered to, and we just ask that you try and check with someone before, if you have a question. PTA president's a great person to ask, your lead room mom. There are lots of people that you can check with just to make sure that you're following those policies that can get us in a lot of trouble. They do have auditors that come in and monitor our lunch policies and all the things that we do, and they give us scare stories all the time about terrible things that can happen if we don't follow the policy. So we have to make sure that we're following those to a T.
And on that note, this year we do have a severe peanut allergy here on campus.
Thank you for mentioning that.
So please be sure when you're coming up for lunch, there is a designated table in the back of the cafeteria that's strictly for the nuns. I know that this has been addressed on the newsletters, but that also goes for, holiday time. Don't bring up peanut brittle to hand out to the class, even if it is for after school. We want to avoid all issues that we can possibly have for that student and keep in consideration of that.
Yeah. When you have somebody who has a life-threatening allergy, it becomes a much deeper level of concern, and we want to make sure that we do everything possible to avoid any reaction for that student. So, we've talked about checking in and how important that is. We've talked about some of the opportunities. There's lots of things that you can do. We can use classroom help. We can use help with PTA events like Fall Festival. That's always a great one to be involved in. It starts early, but then it's over by the end of October, and you're completely done if that's what you signed up for. Of course, lots of parents like to go on field trips, and we encourage you to do that as long as it falls within the grade level parameters. We do ask that you'll do your background check really quickly because those are taking about 10 days to 2 weeks. And if the field trip is organized anytime soon, we don't want you to miss out on something that you might enjoy going on.
Yeah, be sure you get those in. And also one thing too, be sure if you do sign in, if the Raptor system, which gives the sticker, is out, please be sure you sign out. Unfortunately, if our volunteer coordinator or Molly doesn't have a time to sign you out, we don't get credit for those hours. So if you've spent 10 hours up here at the school decorating, wrapping the walls for star testing or for open house or anything like that, you don't get credit for any of that time that you volunteered.
And like we said, that's really important for us to keep up with. If you can't come up and you've made an arrangement to come up, please be sure that you let the teacher know because they are counting on you for that time that you said you'd be able to come. And everybody understands. We know things happen. Little children get sick, big people get sick, or you have some kind of something that comes up, but it's really important to let the teacher know as early as you know so that we don't have an issue with them trying to cover for something that they were hoping you would be here for.
And one last thing I'd like to say is, for point of reference for if you want to volunteer but you're not sure where to go or what to do, one of our great resources are the Facebook parent pages for your grade level. Check into those, ask the other parents, or look it up on Facebook. It's Glenhope parents, kinder, first grade, second grade, all the way up. And there are weekly posts on what's going on and upcoming news and things like that. Also check the Glenhope PTA page and the Glenhope Facebook page. Those will also be great resources for volunteering or any questions that you have on what's going on.
And I send a newsletter out every Friday that I try to have as much information in that as possible. It's posted on the website. If you don't get that newsletter on Friday, it may mean that there's an address that's missing from the information that you provided at registration. So either email me or call Mrs. Clark and let her know that you may need to check we need her to check the email address that you provided. Thank you very much. We hope this quick little video was a very short snapshot of the things that you need to know in order to be an effective volunteer here at Glenhope. Thank you. And when you come back to tell Molly that you've watched the video, just tell her Glenhope Gators rock.